Hey party people! Today I'm going to show you how I painted this color wheel using only 3 tubes of paint. Let's get started. I used the CMYK coloring wheel method, color system, what have you, to mix paints. Okay. I used the red, yellow, blue kind of standard color wheel color system for designing because that's what people are used to looking at. And so when I'm designing, I cater to, what people are used to looking at. But for mixing paints, I find that you get the best methods by using cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And so does your color printer. Okay, that's what your color printer takes. I don't have my magenta cartridge, but cyan and yellow and black. That's what your personal printer takes. That's what your professional printer takes. That's why whenever you want to print something, you want to format the document CMYK. All right. So of course you don't have to use the colors exactly the ones I use, but to help you get started, for magenta, I like the Winsor Newton Gouache in Rose Tyrien. It's a little bit blue. Okay, and I also like the Winsor Newton Cotman Watercolor in Permanent Rose, which is a tiny bit warm. So sometimes I just mix the two. I'm probably going to do that here. I'm going to cheat a little bit. For yellow, I use the gouache in primary yellow, the Cotman watercolor in lemon. Yellow subtleties are harder to pick up, so you have a little bit more leeway with what you use. With blue, I use the Cotman, what is this, Cerulean? And for gouache, don't use the turquoise. Turquoise is too turquoisey, because cyan is not actually turquoise. People think it's turquoise, but it's pure, not as dirty, not as muted as turquoise. I like the gouache in Cerulean. The primary blue is a little bit too blue, okay? It looks like cyan with a little bit of the magenta in it, okay? My favorite, and the one I'm using today, is the gouache in Pthalo blue. And I think that is the closest to straight up ink cyan that I've seen so far. So again, you don't have to use these, but get something close. I find that using a color wheel to compare, okay, this is a great teaching tool that I love using. And when you have a hard time mixing a color, I find it really helps to have something next to you to compare to, so you're going back. Usually when you're working on a fashion project, that will be your fabric swatch. Make sure you're in a well-lit space, lay your swatch out, and then take a test piece of paper and mix your colors right next to your fabric. Okay, if your fabric is shiny, okay, make sure that your fabric is not facing the light directly, because that gloss, that shine, is going to affect how you view the color. But other than that, yeah, just like put it right next to your fabric. Longtime viewers know that I love gouache and I like watercolor, and I mix them all up all the time unless I'm really concentrating on making my paint opaque. Then I just use straight up wash. If your tubes of paint get a little bit crusty, go to the tool store and get some, what am I using? Pliers? Yes, pliers. All right. I see students using their teeth and I full on yell at them. I'm like, don't use your teeth. Okay. Do not use your teeth to open tubes of paint. That is so bad for your teeth. Oh my God. All right. So I'm using the primary yellow gouache. I'm using the phthalo blue gouache. And I'm mixing up the Rose Tyrien and Permanent Rose because I'm a filthy cheater. But again, you could use either one. I don't care. And I drew a perfect circle using a compass or protractor. I always get those two words confused. Okay, I used one of those. And then I drew out 12 spaces so I can space out the colors evenly. And I'm just placing the colors mimicking the color wheel I'm using as a reference. It's not like yellow has to be 12 o'clock all the time. Because I want to concentrate on the colors being as pure and intense and concentrated as possible, I'm using several different brushes and several different cups of water, if you can see them on the very far left of the screen. With watercolor and gouache, if you want to make a lighter color, you typically just add some water. But if you're concentrating on making a color opaque, like if you wanted to put like light pink flowers on a black background, then you can use white gouache. I'm going to have a whole video dedicated to creating tints and shades and tones and what all those different things look like in the color theory series. Okay. But right now I am painting up some blues and purples, just mixing cyan and magenta together in different quantities. And the reason I have these like spaced out is it really helps figure out where to place everything. Okay, so right in the center between magenta and cyan, I have that purple, that violet, and then I get bluer and more cyan as I go to the left, and it's going to get more like red violet as I swing to the right. People think that painting is expensive or more expensive than marker renderings, and I don't really think so. You know, one of the points of this video is to show you that you don't need 100 million tubes of paint to mix a lot of colors. With markers, you need 100 million markers because, I mean, there are a few things you can do with layering markers, but I mean, not anywhere near with the flexibility of paints. And the initial cost of getting started with painting is higher because I advocate getting nice, high quality brushes to begin with, and the papers can be more expensive, but these tubes of paint last forever. And brushes, if you take care of them and you get good ones, they'll last you forever. I've had mine for decades. So in the long run, you know, it's not that much more expensive than markers, and markers can be really expensive because you have to keep buying new ones. They dry out or you don't have the right color, and an annoying teacher like Zoe comes along and says that marker does not match your fabric, you need to go get another one. So yeah, and you know, I am going to continue with the cheap the inexpensive art supply series. I have a bunch of gouaches and watercolors purchased for that video series. And yeah, let's see if we can find some gems in that kit of things that I bought. And again, here I'm doing some reds and oranges, just mixing magenta and yellow. That's all there is to it. And you can see I can get a really awesome, intense red. It's right in there in between magenta and yellow. I'm getting some really beautiful oranges and yellows in there. You might be thinking, so Zoe, does that mean you only have like 5 tubes of paint? No, okay. So yes, I have cyan, magenta, yellow. I have black and white. And yeah, I do have a lot of other colors because there are colors that I use so frequently that it's a shortcut. You know, I buy tubes of paint as a shortcut. I'm going to show you how to make browns and, you know, warm neutrals like olive green and stuff in future videos. But, you know, things like burnt sienna, I use burnt sienna a ton, okay, because it's the base color for a ton of skin tones. And you will see that if you watch my skin tones video. So because I use it so much, I buy burnt sienna and I use it as my shortcut instead of starting over from scratch. But what I recommend for, especially for those of you beginning painters, is to start with these 3. And then, you know, as you keep painting, you're going to know what you need in terms of shortcuts. The point of this series is to show you, A, that you don't need all those tubes of paint, B, that you can get a million colors just using a few paints. And C, most important, where colors come from so that you know how to mix different colors to match your fabrics or what have you. Once you understand the base, okay, like how did I get olive green? Well, what I did was mix yellow and cyan, and that makes a bright green, okay? And you have different options to make duller greens, like adding black, adding gray, okay? And there are so many grays to choose from, right? But I'm going to show you through these painting videos what it looks like when you add different grays and blacks to colors so that you can understand where these colors come from. So when you are trying to match that olive gray, olive green wool for your project, you know, oh, okay, so I have my green now. And when I add black, I get a different green, darker green, than when I add gray. Or when I add red to it. You're like, why would you add red to green? Because that dulls down the green, okay? Adding opposites, your complements, dulls down the color. I'm going to go over mixing up mutes in another video, but if you watch the first color theory basics video, you know that mutes are when two opposites on the color wheel are mixed together to create browns. How do I get the green I want? Do I want to add black? Do I want to add gray? Do I want to add a little bit of red? Do I want to add gray and red? Okay, so that's kind of the goal, is to like give you all the building blocks for what colors look like when they interact with each other so that you can be more efficient at mixing all these colors yourself. Now I'm just going in here and I want to show you guys, I want to show y'all like really intense colors. So I'm just going in here and just adding more of the same color and making things as intense and vibrant as I can. Remember the 3 elements of every color: value, saturation, and temperature. So I'm adding more of the color to make it more saturated, more pure, more intense. Okay. As I mentioned before, temperature is the warmth or the coolness of a color. So our warm colors are the yellows all the way to the red violets. And then our cool colors are from these greens all the way to the violets. And if it looks a little bit weird, it's because at this point I'm painting standing up so that I could kind of look at it at a different angle than I was before. I do that a lot, like as a finishing touch, just to make sure that it looks good from some illustration I do looks good from all angles. I'll stand up and kind of like tilt my head around. Hit the like button if you found this video helpful, and let me know in the comments your questions and what specifically you would like to see in the color theory series if I haven't addressed them already in this video. And subscribe so you get an alert for when I post more color theory videos. And yeah, go practice, mix up some paints, have some fun, document things, how you mix these colors if that's something that helps you. And I will see you in the next video.